And okay, we're live, gentlemen.
All right.
Hey.
Another episode of the Agent Blend. This week we have a special guest. Bill, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Bill D'Ambrosio with Howard Hanna Rand Realty out of White Plains, New York. We're the immediate northern suburb of New York City. So that's where I am, East Coast.
What's the weather like this afternoon?
It's cold. We've had snow recently. Now it's about 30 degrees out today.
Okay. Yeah, I was telling the guys last week we had my brother, his family, they're up in Pennsylvania. So, they're also, I think they're dealing with similar weather.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can tell, I'm still a little red. I went for a run this morning and it's 83 degrees here.
Yeah.
Rub it in.
Well, listen, but we panic when it goes over 80. People start freaking out that it's getting too hot, Bill.
Oh, okay.
But John, that was a good idea that you went surfing this morning. You called that.
Yeah. Well, actually, my wife did. I got to give her the credit. She said, you've been a little tense lately. You need to get in the water. So, yeah, I just timed it with a little market update, and it was a blast. I saw a sea lion in the water.
Nice.
And the water was so clear, it seemed like it was Hawaii, only it was 58 degrees.
Yeah.
So a little chilly. But...
Bill, you have to remember, we're very soft here in San Diego.
Yes.
So, even air temperature wise, when it drops below 65, we panic. And when it goes above 75, we panic. So we have a very small threshold.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I lived in Los Angeles for 5 years in a previous life, so I know what it's like. It's winter. It's 50 degrees.
Yeah, those are cold mornings.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I also believe that your real estate's probably built structurally better than ours.
Yeah. True.
Well, guys, let's. John, I didn't introduce you. My co-host, John Zimmer, the man.
Hi, guys. John Zimmer of Allison James Estates and Homes out of Carlsbad, California. Here, fortunate to be on the show here, kind of co-host with Jeremiah at the Agent Blend, and like Jeremiah said, just made it out this morning for a quick surf. And it's gorgeous. No complaints. About like 83 degrees. Yeah. Water temperature is about 58, and it's really clear, so you can see the reef. You can see everything in the water today. It's gorgeous.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I just ran around the neighborhood and just got hot and then took a shower. So that's Hey, I'm proud to get a workout in. So.
Yes.
Well, cool, guys. Well, then let's kick it off with our first article here. I'll put up the headlines if I did that correctly. This was from the Wall Street Journal. Buying a first home costs more than you think, especially now. And I think this is going to apply nationwide. It's not just here in San Diego. It's not just on the East Coast. Specifically for these, first-time home buyers, a lot of people are getting strained. I mean, this article was talking about how these home buyers are doing everything they can to first win a bidding war, but they're basically emptying their bank accounts. They're taking on, one of their biggest expenses ever. Did they also talk about waiving inspections? I think they did. Didn't they?
They did.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Man, and that's just super crazy, because of course it's putting them in a tricky situation on what they're going to be faced with for repairs. But Bill, did you have any insight or on this topip that you're seeing in your area?
I mean, I'm facing that with first-time home buyers as well as home buyers who have done this before. Everybody is in this situation where, if you want to win a listing, if you want this house, you have to give up something, it seems. And the number one thing that sellers want you to give up are inspections, right? So, but that's too risky. I never recommend that a buyer gives up inspection, especially if a seller says that, because they know that there's something going on in that home. Even my cash buyers, I suggest that they do an inspection before they sign a contract. And sellers are like, well, why? Well, you know why? Because I want to make sure, because I also want to make sure that, nothing, you're not hiding something from us.
What type of disclosure deals do you have where in your state? Like I had a family member that was in Montana, and the sellers didn't have to disclose.
The sellers don't have to disclose. We do have a seller disclosure, but if they don't disclose, at closing, they give $500 to the buyer. So the buyer gets a $500 credit at closing. So the seller doesn't have to fill out a disclosure statement.
Interesting.
Wow.
It's the buyer beware. So you want to do an inspection. And you also, what I'm finding is they want to waive appraisals, right? Well, that, like if the house doesn't appraise, the buyer's on the hook to put a bigger down payment down. They're going to have a bigger mortgage, so I always recommend never give up any of those two unless you're a gambler and you're willing to take the risk, and you really want this house, or there's something moving you where if you lose this house, you're not going to be able to sleep at night and you're going to be able to kick yourself. So you're going to take the risk.
Sure.
But I found what works with first-time home buyers is looking for homes that they're not competing with other buyers for. So, I don't know what expireds is like, in your area, but we don't have too many expireds right now, but we do have old expireds. So what I like to do is I like to contact old expireds, but I do it in a way that no other agent does. Most agents contact expireds with the express, desire to get that listing. Oh, I could sell your home. Your last agent's whatever was terrible, whatever. No, I'm like, listen, I don't want to list your home. I just want to see if my buyers are interested in your home. If you want to make an off-market deal, you'll pay half the commission. You only have to pay the buyer side commission. Nobody is trampling through your home. And it's easy. Now we could do an inspection. We do our appraisals, so now it's just one-on-one. It's not us and 15 other buyers against the seller.
Yeah.
So, that's what I've been pretty successful doing that. Not just, with first-time home buyers as well as, other buyers, but that's a strategy if you're working.
How old? When you say, an older expired, are you talking about a year or 2 years or 3 years?
It could be 6 months to 5 years. You just go back into the MLS. You could set up your searches to make sure they didn't come back on the market and sell. And you just write a nice letter to them, because in New York, we're still in a state of emergency and we can't cold call. So we can't call an expired. But if you send a personal letter, dear Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I'm contacting you because my buyers, Jim and Jane, were really interested in living in your neighborhood. They couldn't find anything. We know you tried to sell your home a few years ago. Yeah. If you're still having any thoughts of selling it, let us know. If they're interested in, if they look at your home and they're interested, we can make an off-market deal. You'll pay only half commission. It'll save you money, aggravation, and you get your home sold. I solve their problem as well as my buyer's problem.
Yeah, I dig it. Yeah. I want to go back to what you had mentioned before about the whole buyer beware. Yeah. In your state. And John, have you heard of that before?
No.
Yeah. No. But I mean, that's wild, right? The first time I heard about it was in Montana. But the whole concept of buyer beware, the seller doesn't have to disclose anything. And Bill, I've never heard of, if they decide not to disclose, they have to give the buyer $500. Like, what is that?
Yeah.
What is
What?
Right. But if you ask specific questions about
they have to respond.
The agent they have to respond. If I ask the listing agent a specific question, they have to give me an answer. They don't have to give me the right answer.
What?
The true answer. They have to give me an answer, and then you read between the lines. You have to because the listing agent has a fiduciary duty to protect the seller, right? Yeah. They have a confidentiality and a fiduciary duty to protect the seller. I have the same with my buyer. So you either find a common ground or you walk away from the deal. If you feel like there are red flags there, you walk away from the deal.
Yeah.
And, that's why you do an inspection. And even an inspection may not show everything or, but because you're buying a used house.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And, there's a risk in that.
So here, if I could just kind of bring up a quick point, we in California, the general rule of thumb, of course, is over disclose. So right. Like if Jeremiah and I are representing a seller, for example, we definitely will advise them, hey, disclose everything you know about this house if they've lived there, and it's to protect their backside, really. And you want the buyers to go in with their eyes wide open. And like you said, Bill, I mean, if that was the rule here and people could just pay $500 and not disclose, then I'm thinking immediately right off the bat, what are they hiding? Why in the world wouldn't they just take the time to disclose everything they know about the house?
Right.
I mean, the legal issues that could arise out of that are just unbelievable, and it doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, but so do I have to disclose that I have a leak in my roof? Right? If inspection didn't show the leak in the roof, right? And the buyer went and did an inspection. So it's like, okay, well,
but what if it wasn't raining? What if it was right in the middle of the summer?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, I like to disclose. I like to tell my sellers, disclose, what you're comfortable with, like for our listing. Like, let's be honest in our listing, but they also, it's like the buyer has to come and look at the property, and so there's gonna be an inspection there. You're gonna have a lender's appraiser come and look at the property.
Sure.
Right? So, but it is a weird thing, but I guess they think that it might, if you disclose everything, you're not going to ever sell your house.
Interesting.
It's like, oh, we have this, we have that, we have this, we have that, and but then again, I'm sure we'll get to lying, like outright lying in listings. That's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think it's weird. It's just different. I mean, it's just a different way of going about it.
It is. And, it's like, all right, it's kind of like, well, if you buy a business and you look at the books of a business and those books aren't right, like what, but you looked at them and you had your accountant look at them, like, what kind of recourse are you going to have a year later when your revenue doesn't match the revenue of the last business owner? Like, wait a second, there's a difference between outright lying and just, saying, well, this is the house and, check it out. I mean, we have a lot of homes sell as is. Whatever you see, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
and we do too. We still have the as is. I guess I'm just it's so different and it's so foreign to me that I don't know.
I mean, there are states where they don't even use lawyers to write up the contract. They use an agent. I don't know what it's like in California,
Yeah.
but in,
No lawyers. We just write them up ourselves.
yeah, I think that's crazy. In New York, no, seriously, in New York, the agents create the deal. We
Yeah.
negotiate the deal,
Yeah.
and then we send that info to our lawyers, and then our lawyers work out the contract.
Yeah.
Because we are not lawyers, we can't give legal advice.
Right.
Mhm.
So our lawyers only could give legal advice. We could just set out these are the negotiated terms of this deal.
Right.
And you know, where it's to me, it's like, man, if I had to write out a contract and now I'm really liable for that.
Yeah.
And then you think, what if what if this is your first deal?
Yeah.
And you know, you have no experience doing. To me, that would freak me out. You
Yeah.
know, we're working with another agent that might not be experienced or whatever. So every state is different,
Yeah.
and I guess it works for whatever state you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Listen, I know we went off on a tangent, but I'm super interested in this because
It's great, and it shows how different parts of this country are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, here, we have a framework, of course, that we have to work within that has all been drafted by legal counsel, but we are the ones that plug in the variables and talk through that with our clients and then ultimately draft it up. So yeah, much different.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I mean, and yeah, I know we went off on a tangent, but definitely my heart goes out right now to first-time homebuyers because their back is kind of against a wall. They have to make fast decisions, and unfortunately, we've seen this here. Of course, there's kind of some panic buying where people go, okay, I got to be the highest and the best, and we're just going to throw this number out there. And then their offer gets accepted and they go, oh, what did I just do? And then there's that backpedaling. And then they realize that maybe we absolutely should not have waived our inspections or our appraisal. And we're in this contract now. So now what?
Yeah.
And then after the fact, if the deal does close, this article talked about the cost of repairs. And all of those repairs, the cost of appliances, that's all going up. All of it's going up across the board. So that's a lot to take on as a first-time home buyer. And I think they really need to be very deliberate with why they're buying and what their end game is for that property and how long are they going to stay there. So if they know those things and they're confident they can answer those questions, then, God bless them. Yeah, let's go find you a house. But if they're kind of wishy-washy about it, maybe now isn't the right time. So,
it's a tough conversation to have too, because we've kind of ingrained in our society that you need to buy a house, that you need to own your house.
Yeah.
And it's, when you have, especially with first-time home buyers, in this market we're in right now in our nation, it's okay. Well, how long like you said, John, how long are we going to need to be here in this specific area? Because, I was telling John on another episode, Bill, I chatted with someone that said, hey, listen, my job is relocating me. I may only be here for about 6 months. Need to get a place. And I'm just like, I don't think that's the best idea because I mean, we'll talk about our next article about the forecast of where we're headed here. But I mean, what if it doesn't pan out? I'm like short-term buying right now. I don't know. I think we've entered into the risky area.
Much higher risk level.
And they're not what I'm finding from first-time home buyers is, they're looking at the purchase price. They're not looking at their monthly. And, so it's kind of like, well, okay, so this is your monthly here. Now, if you go up in price, are you going to be comfortable with this monthly?
Right.
Is this too risky for you? So like I try to keep it simple and break it down that way for them. Because they'll what my experience was with first time home buyers, even not in a seller's market like this, is when they get buyer's remorse. It's like, oh, we bought a home for X and we really could have only afforded, Y. And I was like, whoa. It's not that. It's like, what? You're still within your monthly range. You're $50 over your monthly range, and you're losing sleep.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a casual dinner for two in New York. So once a month. Yeah. So
that's one drink in New York, isn't it, Bill?
Yeah. Well, New York City, that's one drink. Well, I'm in the northern suburbs, so that's a casual dinner. Local bar, burgers and beers. It's about $50.
One Cadillac margarita.
In New York City, like a martini is $50. All right.
Hey guys, should we move ahead and talk about the housing forecast? Excuse me. So this next article was from Yahoo. They were actually talking about Zillow, and boy, Zillow's been in the news for all different reasons. On this one, the headline was Zillow, our 2022 housing forecast is way off. Home prices now set to spike 16%. And this was all coming from basically, the concept that nationwide we've seen this, the 20% increase over the last year. And it was, it's been carried over the last couple of years. John, you want to start off on this one?
Yeah. The folks that I've been listening to and what I've been reading, at least here in our area, in North County, San Diego, are saying, it's somewhere between 4 and 6% appreciation this year. So to look at a number like 16% over what it already has been here, which is just mind blowing over the last year, it makes me a bit nervous. It's definitely a function of supply and demand. And I think the article talked about that, where the inventory is down quite a bit. So they said in January, there were just over 923 homes listed for sale on Zillow, which was down 40.5% from January this last year, and 19.5% from January 2021. So we're seeing it here, when we look at our zip code and what's going on in our marketplace. I have the HomeDex report here for North County, San Diego, and it says that the inventory of homes for sale in January this year is at 719 single-family detached homes across all of North County, San Diego, which is down 47.6% over this time last year.
Yeah,
that's a problem. That's a really big problem.
That's almost 50%.
It's right there at 50%. So last year we would have 2 homes on the market at this time. This year we have 1. And people that, again, going back to the buyers in the marketplace right now, you have to be very confident in your decision, and you have to go out of the gates with your highest and best offer, because oftentimes you're not going to get a second look. And on any given house in our marketplace, Bill, if the home is priced right and it's in a nice area with a good school system, we're seeing, I'm seeing this now, 25 to 30% markup. So you might have a home listed at $975,000. It could sell for over $1.2 million, and there might be 30 plus offers on the table. So it's just brutal at the moment here. And I think to go along with that, mortgage rates are starting to creep up.
Yeah.
And so that's putting additional pressure on people going, you know what, we need to get in now before these rates get up any higher. that's going to have a direct impact on their ability to purchase.
Right.
So,
But then prices probably will stabilize, because if you don't have the buyers in the market, right, if you don't have that demand, now, usually prices stabilize when the demand starts to pull back.
right.
When it comes to forecasting anything, I try to look to the experts. Zillow is not an expert.
Right.
Yes, they have economists, but they also have skin in the game. And so, like last year, when they said prices will rise 11%, you take that with a grain of salt. Like,
Yeah.
how do you know that when others are saying it was going to be higher, right? Is that because you want more people to feel comfortable and go to Zillow and start looking at houses and filling out some form so you could sell that lead to an agent? I mean, that's their business. They're a lead gen company.
Right.
So, I always look at it that way. And then the other part is everything is hyper local. So if you say they're going to raise 16%, in your area, it's 20, 30%. In my area, it's 7 to 9%. So, are you putting this out there to create fear? To like why? That's just a generalization, and so to me, it's more important to be hyper local. Like in your market where you're looking to buy a home, what's the rise in prices? What's the average? Is there a median? Like what's happening in your market right now? So, to me, that's way more important than, a sensationalized headline like, oh, Zillow was wrong. It's not 11%. It's going to be 16%. Oh, I just think that it starts to create some panic, some fear in buyers, and also some greed in sellers. I mean, we're having a hard time getting homes on the market, and a great majority of the conversations are, we're waiting for prices to rise even higher. Really? Really? Like, you're waiting for prices that rise higher. Now, a couple of people are like, well, where am I going to go? We're finding that a lot of the people that are putting their homes on the market are retiring, and they're moving to Florida, which is the typical retirement place for New Yorkers to go.
Yeah.
Bill, it's refreshing to hear that you're getting some of those same comments from sellers that we're getting. I'm waiting for it, to peak. I'm waiting for it,
Right.
And we're scratching our heads going, okay, that's just greed at this point,
Right. It is. It really is.
But you nailed it on the head, the hyper local and educating our clients on what's going on in that hyper local area, because again, this headline, Zillow's prediction, even I think this article mentioned, Zillow didn't predict that we would have the boom in home prices when the pandemic hit. I mean, I think you have to look at these, with a grain of salt, because it is hyper local. You have to be educated, and if the consumer's not going to reach out to an agent, they're going to have to do some better investigating than reading these headlines and then taking that, to what they're going to do next in their move.
Right. Remember last year, we read so many predictions that forbearance was going to turn into foreclosure.
Right.
Yeah.
And it hasn't happened.
No.
Because people just went back to paying their mortgage.
Yeah.
It wasn't that they were, they couldn't pay their mortgage. It was that, we were impacted by COVID. And so you got a break. But a lot of businesses just then rebounded after a while. People made their money and they're paying their mortgage and they're out of forbearance and they're not going into foreclosure. So those homes aren't coming on the market.
Right.
And a lot of there's a lot of predictions from people with opinions, but not data. And so you always have to take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I think to both of your points that real estate is hyper local.
Yeah.
Now more than ever, it's hyper local, and you need to have an agent that is very active in the marketplace because it's changing so rapidly. And the value of an agent, in my opinion, has gone only up. I see good agents. If you can get yourself somebody who knows what they're doing, whether it's on the sales side or on the buy side, they're worth their weight in gold. And so, anyways, I could do an offshoot on that, but I don't want to. That's not one of our topics. So, yeah.
Well, hey, I think we all put our 2 cents into that one. I think it's I have a big beef with headlines like that. You know what I mean? Because I don't think it's accomplishing anything, right?
Right.
It's just getting people excited or freaking people out when they shouldn't be.
Right. It's clickbait.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Great segue, Bill.
Yes.
Talk about clickbait. Next article is, and I got a kick out of this one because it's like some of these are my pet peeves.
Yes.
This article's from The Guardian. BS real estate listings, the 8 tricks we all fall for. I mean, they rattled off a bunch of different stuff, so I don't even remember all 8 of them. But it was kind of a 2-part. They were listing off things that are kind of like hacks or tricks to entice buyers that a lot of listing agents are doing. But at the end of it, it was just like it was such a downer because they were just but in this market with inventory being so low, listing agents don't have to do a dang thing. They don't even have to put many pictures on. And I mean, we could talk about that as well, whether that's true or not. But I was just, it was so unfortunate that that's kind of where we're at now, that here's all the, pardon me, but here's all the bullshit that people are putting in listings. And then now they're selling anyways. So, but Bill, do you want to rattle off a few you saw on there or our pet peeves that you see?
I mean, mine are retouched photos. Like,
okay, the Photoshop,
super retouched photos, fisheye photos to make a place look much bigger than it is. Virtual staging without telling you it's virtually staged.
Yeah, you mean when you walk in and you're going, what?
Well, where's the furniture? And it's one, like if I ever, and I've done it a few times, virtual stage, but on the bottom I'll say virtually staged. I'll print that on each photo, virtually staged, so And in the description, I'll say, these are virtually staged to give you an idea of what this home could look like when you live in it. So, just being honest.
Right. Imagine that.
Right. But honestly, my biggest pet peeve is like, honestly, like outright lying. Tuesday, I went and I have this buyer and he wants to buy a multifamily home. And so we found one online and it only had a few pictures, but it said it was 2 bedrooms and 1 bath on the top unit, 2 bedrooms and 1 bath on the first floor unit. And it was priced well. So we got there. And we walk in. Oh, and it said that it's a legal 2-family, but it's being used as a 1-family now. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, okay. That's interesting. Someone's going outside to go, yeah.
We walk in and there's stairway going up on the right, and on the left is like a living room area. And then behind the living room area is a kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I'm seeing. So then there's a door behind the kitchen, doorway. I go behind there. I look to the right. There's a half bath, just a toilet and a sink. And then there's the back door to the house. So I'm like, well, where are the two bedrooms
bedroom.
on the floor? And the
Yeah.
listing agent goes, oh, up front, you can make 2 bedrooms. And I'm like, there's no space to make 2 bedrooms. And then even forget, we won't have a dining room or a living room. We'll just have a kitchen. And there's no space to have a full bath back there.
So they're advertising an imagination on.
Right.
They're advertising what you could do. Is that correct?
Right. But there's not even space to do this because in New York, a bedroom has to be 75 square feet with a window, right? And a door. There's not even enough room here. So then we go upstairs and I'm like, well, let's see what upstairs is like. And upstairs is 4 bedrooms and a half bath. Like, I'm like, nobody takes a bath or a shower in this family. Like, what do they do? Like, there's so, you know, and a listing agent, you know, called me back. I'm like, this is a lie. Oh, no. It's a legal 2-family. And I'm like, they may be paying taxes as a legal 2-family, but A, they're dumb for doing that because this is a 1-family house.
It sounds like it's not even a 1-family house.
Yeah.
Right?
I know they don't have a full bath. I mean, you know, yes, 1 family could live there. You have 4 bedrooms upstairs. You have a living room, dining area, and a kitchen downstairs. But I mean, my buyer was really upset, and I don't blame him. And I was shocked when I spoke to the listing agent, was like, oh, no. This is what it is. This is what it is. You could do this. And I'm like, so that's my pet peeve. When you walk into a place and it's just an outright lie.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, I get that, you know, you're going to do the photos here or there or whatever. I get that. I don't like it, but I get it. But when you go to a place and it's just definitely not what was in the listing, that's wrong.
Right.
How about you, John? What's your pet peeve?
I mean, I didn't like what they said that, you know, it's a seller's market and agents don't have to work. They don't have to try anymore. I think that is actually a very common perception right now. And the people that I talk to, friends, family, they're all very well-meaning, but they say, oh, business must be just booming right now for you. It must be just so great and times are gravy. And it couldn't be further from the truth. You know, and again, it goes back to supply and demand, and our levels of inventory are just down so greatly. But as far as being a listing agent right now in this marketplace, you can imagine the work that it takes to have, let's say, 20 offers on a home, and to make sure that you're doing a good job for each one of those offers and keeping them straight, and then getting back to everybody. And then if there's a counter offer situation, you know, how many of those offers are countered, and just making sure that you're operating in a way that is fair and that it's a level playing field for everybody. That's very, very challenging right now. And in certain cases, it makes me think sometimes that offers actually are not presented. There is that. I've had, when I've been the listing agent on certain properties that get many offers, certain agents will want me to have their offer package signed off on by the sellers, so that it proves that at least the sellers took a look at the offer package. And it's more work, but out of respect for them, I did it. So it is anything but easy right now, as a listing agent or on the buy side. It's a battlefield at the moment. So I think that articles like this, again, going back to what you said, Bill, this is total clickbait. And it's really unfortunate that a lot of people, they believe what they read in the media. It's all a bunch of hype.
That's right.
It's not true.
No.
Well, and John, just to you talk more about the listing agents, it's a disservice to your clients as well. Like, let's just talk about photos, right? Let's talk about photos. Let's talk about accurate marketing and all the verbiage there. It's a disservice to your seller if you're not doing everything you can to make that property look as good as possible and to get that property ready and to make sure that you're not overreaching and putting in the wrong information, because at the end of the day, your obligation is to your client, to the seller, and just tossing it into the multiple listing service and just going, well, I know I'm going to get a bunch of offers. Well, no, but are you maximizing and are you doing the best for your client? So
yeah, no, I got to call that post and pray. You post and you pray that buyers are going to come. Do you guys get a lot of, like, say, iPhone portrait photos?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pet peeve. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah.
You can't
pay for professional photos.
Right.
Yeah.
Or even if you're going to use an iPhone, you can't even make it like, landscapes, just something like this. But, but I think we all get people saying, well, you're a listing agent now. It's so easy. You don't have to do anything. You just sit back. And what I say is, well, last week, 57 homes didn't sell and they expired and they came off the market and they just dropped like at least 5% in value. What do you mean? Well, they were on for 6 months and they didn't sell. Now, every buyer's agent who goes and looks at that listing is going to see the history. So those offers are going to come in less. So that listing agent didn't do their job.
And they hurt their client.
Right. And it's like, something happened. They didn't market it. They didn't follow up. The price was too high. They couldn't get their client to realize that. But for whatever reason, these homes didn't sell. And now, I don't know if you have this in your market, but in our market, you actually get a red X when it's expired next to it. So, on MLS, when you're going
Scarlet letter,
you got a red, like the scarlet, right? You got a red X. So now your home lost value. So you can't put it on at the same price that you had before because everybody knows. And, they think like they play the Zillow game where after 30 days you could repost your house and it only shows that you were on the market for 1 day because it's a new posting. And like,
we have some agents that do the same thing here.
Right. You go through the listing. The other day I had one of my buyers text me and really upset. I set her up on, she wanted to be on an automatic update for homes. I'm like, all right, because usually what I do is every morning I have alerts for all my buyers and I go through and I send a personalized email. This came on, check it out. Because I want to make sure they're looking at stuff that they want, not that, the MLS just decides to send them. But, this lady was like, no. I love looking at everything. Oh, great. Very upset. Why did you send me a house that dropped $1 in price? The agent reduced the price so it could show up as, a reduced price, new price, up to the top, your MLS. It gets a nice little green, price reduced. I'm like, oh, man, the agent's playing games. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but that, they play a game and it's going to go out as an automatic email. I would never have sent that to you.
Yeah. And she's going to get another one tomorrow. Right.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So, that's another game, but so you have to do the work no matter what kind of market it is.
Yeah. Well, I'm feeling good just venting and and just talking about this. Yeah. I got to point out my number one biggest pet peeve. We're by the ocean here. You can not every home can see the ocean, but we're near the ocean in San Diego, and we have different degrees of ocean view peekaboo view, horizon view, blue view, and sometimes I got to climb on top of the master bedroom toilet to look out the window to see just a little bit of blue, and it's being advertised as ocean view.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest pet peeve is, or they'll take what are those big camera lenses?
A zoom lens.
Yeah, those zoom lenses. And then you're looking at the photo and you're like, wow, I mean, I can see, I can see the boats in the water. And then you get there and you can barely see the water. So I don't know. That's my big beef. Why even include it if it's not even remotely close to, and especially in this market, and I don't know about you guys, but you take a buyer to a property, especially if it's at the top of their price range, and they have expectations for that price range. So again, I think it's a disservice to these sellers when the listings agents do it, because my buyer comes in and he goes, "This is ridiculous." Like your situation, Bill, and it's wasting everybody's time. It's not helping sell the homes. So,
Right. Do you guys on your MLS, on your listings, do you have like a little map icon where they could actually see where in relation it is?
Yeah. I always move mine as close to the ocean as possible.
Right. Ocean views. Right.
Yeah. Hey, I'm a hypocrite. What can I say? In
New York City, Riverview is really big for either the west side or the east side. But most times it's like you have a sliver between two buildings, and or it's a reflection of the windows in the other building of a river. So,
it's wild. Yeah. Gentlemen, this was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And Bill, it was nice. It was nice to have your take, and boy, we unintentionally learned a lot about a new market and disclosures, buyer beware, sellers just writing a check for $500. But yeah, no, I mean, I think we covered some good stuff and kind of called out the bullshit when it was there. But
yes,
well, it was fun, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. When we get off air here, we'll exchange some contact info so we can stay in touch. But thanks again, Bill. John, get back in the water soon, buddy. I want to see that video too after you post it.
I will. Yeah, I will. I shot 3 or 4 of them. As you know, it can be a bit challenging.
Oh yeah, Bill. This is the one thing, because we talked about it. People know what we're talking about here. When we shoot when we're in the ocean, you don't get to watch it and find out if you messed up or not. You don't even know if you're on camera the whole time. So it's, you don't just shoot just one video. You got to shoot like 3 to 5, hoping that one of them works. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, John, I look forward to checking it out.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you, Bill. It was nice to have you on.
Thanks, Jeremiah. This was great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your week, guys. Talk soon.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Adios.